Welcome to the Mindful Practice Podcast, a space for physicians navigating burnout, identity shifts, and career change without pressure or judgment. I'm your host, Dr. Bertina Hooks, a board-certified internal medicine physician, coach, and writer. Here we talk honestly about what it means to build a sustainable career and a life beyond medicine and survival. Hello, and welcome to the Mindful Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bertina Hooks, and we just finished the burnout series with the Mindful Practice Podcast, and today we're starting the Career Clarity and Pivot series. So this first episode is going to talk about career strategy. Have you ever noticed that a lot of physicians keep changing jobs but still feel unhappy? They move from one hospital system or clinic to another, one contract to another, one role to another, one environment to another. But somehow the frustration follows them. And I think one of the biggest reasons this happens is because many physicians are not lacking intelligence, talent, or work ethic. They are lacking strategy. They're lacking clarity. And they're lacking a structured process to help them understand what they actually want their career and life to look like. So, in today's episode, I want to introduce you to something that I've been developing through my own coaching work, my own personal journey, and my conversations with other physicians who feel professionally stuck. And this is what I call the Phoenix Position Pivot Framework. This framework is designed to help physicians move from burnout, stagnation, and confusion towards clarity, strategic positioning, and aligned career reinvention. Because, honestly, many physicians do not need another random job. They need a career strategy. This series is all about career clarity, strategic pivots, and building careers that are actually aligned with who we are becoming. Because I think many physicians are realizing that success in medicine does not automatically equal fulfillment. And for many of us, there comes a point where we begin asking, what do I actually want my life and career to look like? What kind of work environment allows me to thrive? What kind of flexibility do I want? Do I want leadership, ownership, creativity, autonomy, diversification? All of these are important questions because if you don't intentionally design your career, you can easily drift into a life and career that no longer fits you. And I think that's where many physicians find themselves. Not incapable, not lazy, not failures, just professionally misaligned. Why random job changes don't solve the problem? I think many physicians believe the solution is, maybe I find another hospital or clinic to work at. Maybe I need another employer. Maybe I need another contract. Maybe I need another certification or another degree. But if you haven't actually developed clarity around what you want, what energizes you, and what kind of life you're trying to build, then changing jobs may simply recreate the same dissatisfaction in a different environment. And I've seen this happen repeatedly, even in my own career. Physicians leave one system and enter another system with the exact same problems. Lack of autonomy, lack of flexibility, lack of alignment. administrative burdens, productivity pressure, emotional exhaustion. And before making a pivot, I think physicians need strategy. And strategy starts with self-awareness. Now let's introduce the Phoenix Position Pivot Framework. I want to walk you through the high-level structure of the Phoenix Position Pivot Framework. This is a roadmap that I use to think about physician career reinvention. And no, this framework is not about impulsively quitting medicine. It's about intentional evolution. The framework has 5 stages: fire, clarity, position, pivot, and rise. And I want to briefly walk through each one. Fire. Fire represents the catalyst. That's where physicians begin recognizing something's not working. This may look like burnout, career dissatisfaction, misalignment, identity conflict, feeling trapped or stuck, feeling disconnected from yourself. And for many physicians, this stage is uncomfortable, but it's also important because it's awareness. It's a signal that creates the opportunity for transformation. Many pivots begin with that discomfort, and I think physicians often try to suppress these feelings instead of exploring what they actually may be trying to teach us. Clarity. The second phase is clarity, and this is where I think many physicians skip ahead too quickly. They immediately start searching job boards or trying to escape, but clarity requires reflection. This is where physicians begin asking, what do I actually want? What kind of life or career am I trying to build? What matters most to me now? And what kind of schedule supports my well-being? Do I value flexibility, ownership, creativity, leadership, purpose, freedom? And one thing I want physicians to understand is this: your definition of success is allowed to evolve, and the definition of success is different for each physician. The version of success that motivated you early in your career may not fit the person you are now, later in your career. And that's okay. Position. This is one of my favorite parts of the framework because this is where strategy enters the picture. Position is about helping physicians understand that they are not starting over. Physicians often underestimate how valuable their skills actually are. We have leadership skills, communication skills, crisis management, decision making, systems thinking, education experience, adaptability. But many physicians do not know how to position those skills outside of a traditional clinical environment. So this phase includes things like optimizing your curriculum vitae, optimizing your LinkedIn profile, networking or informational interviewing, visibility, thought leadership, informational interviews, strategic positioning. Because opportunity follows visibility, and many physicians remain invisible. They need to understand the options that are out there and then start positioning themselves intentionally and strategically. Pivot. The pivot phase is where physicians begin exploring aligned opportunities. And I want to say this clearly. A pivot does not always mean leaving medicine completely. Sometimes it means redesigning your relationship with medicine. Maybe it looks like utilization management, telemedicine, consulting, medical expert work, leadership, medical affairs, entrepreneurship, coaching, pharma, biotech, portfolio careers, where that's a hybrid of different types of career paths, which is what I do. And one thing I encourage physicians to do is to test before making drastic decisions. Explore, network, have conversations, shadow, do per diem work or independent contractor work, experiment, because clarity often develops through action. Next step is rise. So finally, rise represents reinvention. And this is where physicians begin creating the careers that feel more aligned, sustainable, and intentional. And more importantly, reinvention is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. We evolve as clinicians and individuals. Our priorities evolve. Our goals evolve. Our identities evolve. And physicians deserve permission to evolve too. Now, I'm going to talk with you about some reflection questions that will help you with this career clarity and pivot transition. And I encourage you to really sit with these questions. Question number 1. What part of your current career feels most misaligned right now? Question number 2. What do you want more of in your life and career? Question number 3. What are you tolerating that no longer fits or serves the person and physician you are becoming? Question number 4. If fear were removed from the equation, what would you explore professionally? Question number 5. Are you building your career intentionally, or are you simply reacting to survival? Now let's talk about career strategy versus career confusion. I think many physicians spend years in confusion because they never pause long enough to intentionally evaluate what they actually want. Instead of developing a strategy, they stay trapped in overthinking, fear, comparison, analysis paralysis. And I want physicians to understand this. You do not need to have your entire life figured out today, but you do need direction. You do need clarity. You do deserve optionality. Because medicine is changing, healthcare is changing, and physicians who intentionally diversify their skills, visibility, and opportunities are often in a much stronger position long term. And that's really key. You need to take the time to reflect and get that clarity and develop that strategic plan to pivot. And that time can be a sabbatical or hiatus, maybe reducing your FTE, doing coaching to help clarify these questions that you have about your career. If today's episode resonated with you, I want to invite you to explore the Career Clarity and Pivot Intensives through the Pinnacle Business Academy. Inside these intensives, we go much deeper into career clarity, strategic positioning, curriculum vitae and LinkedIn optimization, career pathways, and career pivots, as well as networking, informational interviews, and increasing visibility, and building an intentional roadmap for your next chapter. This work is not about impulsively abandoning medicine. It's about helping physicians strategically evolve. If you're feeling professionally stuck, uncertain, or ready for change, I want you to know that you do not have to navigate this process alone. You can find more information through the Pinnacle Business Academy website at www.pinnaclebusinessacademy.com. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with another physician who may need to hear this conversation. Subscribe and follow. Thank you so much for joining me today for today's episode of the Mindful Practice Podcast. In the next episode of the series, we're going to talk about clarity before the pivot. We'll discuss how physicians can begin defining what they actually want next before jumping into another role or opportunity. And if you want to obtain a copy of the Phoenix Position Pivot Framework, you can download a free copy at my website, pinnaclebusinessacademy.org. Until next time, remember, you are not trapped in one version of success. You are allowed to evolve. Take care. If you're not ready to pivot yet, you need options. The Career Pathways Intensive is where we explore what's actually available to you beyond clinical medicine. You can learn more in the show notes. Sometimes the hardest part isn't leaving, it's knowing what your options are. The Career Pathways Intensive helps you identify aligned, realistic paths based on your skills and goals. The link is in the show notes. If you're in that in-between place, curious, but not ready to fully pivot, the Career Pathways Intensive is a great place to start. It gives you clarity without pressure. Check the show notes to apply. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Practice Podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, you can find free burnout and career clarity resources at pinnaclebusinessacademy.org. And if this podcast supported you, please consider subscribing or sharing it with a colleague who might need it. Remember, you are more than your white coat. You are not broken, and you are allowed to evolve. Until next time, take care of yourself, not just your role.